Hi, this is Kelsey Blaho, and we'll be talking about why we must all become digital citizens. So first off, what is digital citizenship? It refers to the responsible use of technology by anyone. So that could be whoever uses computers, the internet, digital devices to engage with society at any level. So I think it's really relevant to talk about it, especially within the school system, but then also just for anyone basically who's using technology, which it's consumed so much of our society now. And I threw in this for what bad digital citizenship is. So things like cyberbullying, irresponsible social media use, general lack of knowledge and how to safely use the internet. So I feel like there's a lot of this going on in society, and I think that's the main reason of why we need to learn about digital citizenship and how to be good stewards of technology. So I wanted to include both those quotes up there because I think they're really relevant to this topic. So I also wanted to dive into for what the different laws are around digital citizenship and why we need to incorporate it into the school system. So there's a few things like SIPA, FERPA, and then COPA that are some main laws around it. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail, but SIPA basically is the school system filtering internet access. So I know at our school we have lots of things blocked, like some students aren't able to look up certain things because we have such a strong filter, and that's through SIPA. And then FERPA protects the privacy of students' education records. So it protects like their name, phone number, address, grade level, that kind of thing. It protects it. So schools may disclose it, but parents also can request that they don't. And then COPA limits their ability to collect personal information from, it allows commercial companies to limit their access to collecting personal information from children under 13. So there's a lot of personal information that is not shared to these commercial agencies. So not only are there these digital citizenship laws, there's also some funding that comes from it, and so that's this E-rate, which is a federal program through which schools and libraries can apply for to get funding for internet access, hardware, that kind of thing. So, but they have to be following a lot of these laws in order to get funding. So I wanted to talk about that because I think that's a big component in the public education system, is to be able to get funding, get resources, that kind of thing, but also keep our students safe, and so that's why there's these laws in place. So yeah, I think it's important that we talk about this with digital citizenship. Why does it matter? It matters for a lot, like I talked about at the beginning. Everyone uses technology. We use it so much at school, and so I think it's really important to discuss it. And here this quote just mentions a little bit more about the Protecting Children in the 21st Century Act, which works on the E-rate, SIPA, that kind of thing, filtering stuff, dealing with cyberbullying awareness and the response to it. And so again, trying to hone in on some of those key issues that our students are facing on a daily basis, and then trying to find ways within digital citizenship to help protect them. And then with Go Guardian, they talked about define, execute, and create were some of their main points. And so that could look at information literacy, cyberbullying prevention, online safety, digital responsibility. So not only defining those as an educator in the classroom, then finding ways to execute that through lessons, and then finding creative ways to create and utilize that throughout the class. Again, just trying to help gauge awareness and develop those things. And then our world has a lot of digital tools and online content that we need to teach our students, and there's so many different resources out there, and make it a priority and not just something that we like check off our box. So here's some other things, and I took this from Joseph 2020. It gives kind of an acronym. So respect yourself and others online, educate yourself and others online, and then protect yourself. So I think those three words are like super important and really big for why it matters, and then also kind of some ways to teach it. So not only respecting the students, their choices, but then also how they can respect, educate, and protect other people, I think is really important. And I thought these facts were really interesting. Only 75% of the Americans have internet access, which I thought was kind of low, especially with COVID and that kind of thing. And then, so there's about 20%, 25% who just don't use the internet. So I think that tends to be a little bit more of the older generation. But I still found these facts fairly interesting, but a good majority of people are. So I think that stems into why it matters, is because a lot of people are using the internet, and finding ways to be safe on it is crucial. So are we as educators ready? And so I took this acronym from Joseph, so READY, ready, to teach digital citizenship. And it stands for remind, encourage, accountability, demonstrate, and then being a culture of yes. So with remind students to be mindful of what information and opinions they make public. So I think especially as educators too, we need to be cautious of what's out there, and what we're making public too. And then we need to educate students on the negative aspects of online use, encourage students to step away from their cell phone. I feel like that's going to be hard, but I think it's super important. Encourage them to hang out with friends, especially with COVID. I feel like there's been a lot of online stuff. They need to develop more of the one-on-one offline relationships. And then A is for accountability, and that is key. So encourage digital accountability. So maybe having a guide where they keep track. There's some safety rules posted. There's a bunch of different options out there. And then demonstrate. So this is just us modeling good citizenship to promote culture and positive use online. So as an adult, as an educator, how can I demonstrate that? And then be a culture of yes when it comes to launching digital tools. So too often a school blocks or locks down everything to be safe. And I think there's a lot of other ways we can teach safety and how to kind of prevent some stuff. So I thought that was really interesting. So are we ready? So how can we teach digital citizenship? Like I said, there's so many different resources, but I thought these key points, concepts, and then questions were really cool that I found online. So 7 key concepts to teach it. So empathy, how the internet works. I feel like most kids don't know how the internet actually works. And I'm not sure I fully grasp how the internet works. So I think all of us kind of coming together and figuring out how it works. Understanding user data, practical digital literacy, acknowledging the digital divide. So realizing that some people have the access to internet, other people don't. Practicing digital wellness, securing digital services, I think are all really key components. And then 5 questions for students. What impressions are you giving? So for someone else's post, what would you think about it? So just thinking from someone else's perspective. And then just thinking, do I really want this information out there? These questions are good, not just for the student, but everyone basically online. And then oversharing. So am I oversharing? I feel like I have to ask myself that. When I post things, I ask myself all this stuff. Would I want someone to share this fact or idea about me? Does it pass the newspaper test? So would I be happy to see it on the front page of the newspaper? Whoa. I feel like that's such a big question. Or someone would be like, some of my friends would be like, do you want your grandma to see this? So I feel like these are all really good questions and different key concepts that I feel like need to be taught and asked on the daily. I just took some screenshots from different sites because there's so much information out there. Like this one has there's an initiative in LA that talks about teacher resources, cyberbullying stuff. Common Sense has some really awesome stuff. So about relationships, communication, your reputation online. I know that was big, especially when finding jobs. They definitely look at social media sites and kind of what we put out there. And then this site by iSafe has a ton of things on ethics, privacy, even identity management, I think is really crucial. So there's so many different resources out there. It's just trying to figure out how to apply it into the classroom. And then there's a lot of resources just as educators, how we can keep ourselves safe too. And then here is some stuff from Rocky Mountain High School, the school that I currently teach at. So they just kind of break down a lot of different things. There's also a section too on using personal devices, that kind of thing. So they talk about student safety, computers, privacy, that kind of thing, the internet uses, and talking about the filters on the internet. I know there's a lot of filters on things that students can't see, like certain videos on YouTube, all that stuff. So there's a lot of different things. Email. Yeah, so there's a lot of different things. And I like that they mentioned student use of district information technology is a privilege, not a right. And I think that's so big. I feel like students just like expect, like, this is my right, I'm expected for this. And it's such a privilege. So here's my student correlation, relevancy, and reflection. I feel like the biggest takeaway I had from this is the laws and trying to understand the purpose behind those and funding and that kind of thing. So I feel like that was the biggest takeaway for me. And I'm really thankful I got to learn all of that. And then here's my references. So thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your day.